This is the exotic Bad Juju, a Destiny 1 pulse rifle that has returned to us in Destiny 2, which was a big surprise to many of us considering we just came off an exotic quest last week with Lumina. So then just to turn around back to back, hit us with 2 exotic quests. Yeah, Bungie got me by surprise. But essentially, fellas, Bad Juju is back. It requires a lot of quest steps that involves tribute haul and wearing menagerie or raid-based armor while completing certain activities around the solar system. For those that are interested in how to get this thing, down below will be a quest guide. But today we're actually going to be reviewing Bad Juju, not only in its base form, but also in its final form. That's right, boys. We found somebody today with the exotic catalyst, which does require a total of 45 tributes. So huge shout out to High Knee for letting us get on his account. Now, without further ado, guys, let's go over this pulse rifle. First up, intrinsically, this weapon comes with String of Curses. Kills refill the magazine. It also increases damage for a short duration and grants super energy based on the strength of String of Curses. Also fires in full auto. Now, a few things have changed between String of Curses in Destiny 1 to String of Curses in Destiny 2. First up, String of Curses in D1 was just a flat buff, right? After getting 1 kill, String of Curses was now activated, or at least if I'm remembering correctly. Now though, String of Curses actually stacks, similar to something like Rampage or Swashbuckler, and will actually give stacks from 1 to 5. Now these stacks are pretty substantial. Inside of something like PvP, we get an increase of 12% at 1 stack, 20% at 2 stacks, 32% at 3, 40% at 4, and 52% at 5. Now, to be perfectly honest with you, this is not a ginormous jump here from stack to stack in PvP. But in PvE is where you start to really see the increases here in damage. So at 1 stack of String of Curses, this jumps up by 20%. 2 stacks is 40%, 3 stacks is 60%, 4 stacks is 80%, and 5 stacks is 99%, or essentially 100. This is a very big jump here with each consecutive stack, which doubles what we get inside of PvP. Now, when we compare this to something like Swashbuckler or even something like Rampage, even at times 5 on Swashbuckler, you're only looking at a 65% increase in damage. And with something like Rampage, you're looking at a 66% increase in damage. So the fact that String of Curses is giving us a 100% increase in total damage at times 5 is extremely nasty. I think the only other perk that can compare in terms of total damage is something like multi-kill clip, right? Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I think multi-kill clip inside of PvE can stack all the way up to 100%. Now, some other things to take note of about Bad Juju, it also comes with Hammerforged Rifling, which increases our range, steady rounds for that ginormous bump there in stability, hipfire grip as our trait, ergonomic grips that increase accuracy and stability when firing from the hip. Kind of a wasted perk. It was also kind of a wasted perk back in Destiny 1, considering it's a pulse rifle, but it's whatever. This weapon also comes with a short action stock, which increases our handling speed. Now, the catalyst itself, this actually extends the duration of String of Curses. Now, I think the default String of Curses time is like 3.5 seconds to 4 seconds. With the catalyst, it throws on an extra second. So you actually have 5 whole seconds between each consecutive kill to reproc something like String of Curses, which is actually a very long time. This is actually longer than something like Rampage and Rampage Spec. And again, the beautiful thing about String of Curses is you don't have to waste time reloading, as kills immediately refill the magazine. And it doesn't even refill the magazine from reserves. That's right, boys, infinite ammo. As long as you are getting kills, you will constantly keep regenerating ammo here. And having that extra second between kills is a nice little added fluff for us to keep continuously proccing String of Curses. So with this weapon being more focused toward PvE, how does it perform in PvP? First up, Bad Juju feels excellent. All around the board, it's a great feeling gun, but only within its optimal range. Now, I do not have the range cutoff in which damage fall off begins, as we were testing damage values. Just know that Bad Juju is in the same scenario that many of our other lightweight pulses are in, which is the range on them by default is just terrible. Like, the main reason why Outbreak Perfected separated itself from all the other 450s is because it came with a default range of 68, whereas something like Bad Juju has a default range of 41. Now, 41 is still better than the majority of our other legendary pulse rifles that are in the same archetype, but it's not great, which is why whenever you get into scenarios against max range hand cannons Austringers, Ace of Spades, Blast Furnace, other pulse rifles that have better range, you'll find yourself getting outdueled in certain mid-range levels, which is unfortunate. Now, the String of Curses perk does give a 52% buff there at ×5 inside of something like PvP. This also has some cons to it, because how often are you going to actually get 5 kills in a row to proc something like String of Curses ×5? Now, I know Swashbuckler, and we actually reviewed a lot of weapons with Swashbuckler, and we say we like Swashbuckler on certain weapons, even inside of PvP. But the beautiful thing about Swashbuckler is that you can proc it with a simple melee kill. And boom, you got ×5. String of Curses, though, you can't do that. You can only proc it by actually getting pulse rifle kills. I would have actually really liked if String of Curses only stacked up to 3, meaning that our increase in damage there would have been steeper and probably would have been easier to get up to and chain kills to had we only had to get 3 kills to reach that total 52% buff there in PvP. Now, granted, I know that this weapon was more designed for PvE than PvP, but just some constructive criticism on my part. But for my PvP players that are looking to use a pulse rifle inside of PvP, and if you want to try Bad Juju, it is a good fill-in pulse. It lands crits, and within that certain range before you reach damage fall off, it is a very good fill-in pulse. And it does rock a 0.87 time to kill. Not the best, but not the worst, requiring 8 crits, so a little bit of forgiveness there in those shots. I will say when using Bad Juju, especially for my controller users inside of PvP, it was sticky, boys. The weapon comes with 60 aim assist, which is actually less than most of our other lightweight pulses, and even less than something like Outbreak Perfected, but man, it just did not feel it. So for console users, especially in that short range to mid-range levels, Bad Juju, I think, is going to be a very good pulse. And again, something we are failing to mention right now is the fact that throughout all of these kills that you're getting consistent amounts of super energy per kill. Like all of the gameplay that you see today with me inside of PvP on Hane's account was with 1 super mod. That's it. And I was still consistently getting easily 3 or more supers per game. And I say 3 or more, I actually wasn't even using my super because I'm trying to get more kills with the pulse rifle, as this is a pulse rifle review. But just know I was constantly sitting on a super. Now, moving on to PvE. Things get interesting over here, guys. First up, that 100% increase in damage at ×5 is extremely nice. But the ability to sit there in a lane and constantly just kill enemy after enemy without ever reloading or moving is extremely lethal. I can't tell you how many builds we are going to have here with Bad Juju. Now, I'm not going to dive into it too much as I want to save some of that information for build videos, but my lord, was I getting lots of supers. It was insane. When you start combining 5 super mods with something like Bad Juju and String of Curses, alongside certain subclasses that by default already regenerate all of your abilities as well as super energy per kill. And a lot of this Gambit gameplay, guys, I was getting easily 2 to 3 supers per round. Now, for those that are wondering how much String of Curses actually helps you, I went down to Greg and I killed every single ad with Midnight Coup. I wanted to see how many ads I needed to kill in order to get my full super. I got my super on the final kill down there with Greg, as in the final ad that I killed right before it is when I actually got my super here. Now, with something like String of Curses on Bad Juju, I went down there and did the same exact thing. Look how many ads I have left and I already have my super. This is easily half the ads in this room, maybe even a little more. The fact is that something like String of Curses almost doubles the super regeneration here for our supers. And I want to point out that there is nothing that is on this character right now when testing this that increases super regeneration or plays any type of role in how quickly we get our super back. This is just String of Curses all on its own. So how does Bad Juju sit in something like PvE? I think it is a solo player's dream come true. I think if you are a solo player in any activity, Bad Juju allows you to be a one-man army. That increase in super regeneration by essentially doubling it opens up so many things for you. Yes, this exotic may not be the best for team engagements. It definitely is not going to make that big of a difference in terms of damage per second in any boss encounter, but for solo players that are constantly wanting to dip into the lethality of their supers, whether it's a Well of Radiance that is just keeping you alive, whether it's Chaos Reach, whether it's a bubble, whatever it may be, consistently getting kills with Bad Juju will constantly provide you that super. Believe me, there's tons of other weapons in terms of lethality that I would choose over Bad Juju. Directly in that slot, you can get something something like Huckleberry with its catalyst, which is an absolute monster in terms of dealing with ants, but none of them provide the large amount of supers that String of Curses on Bad Juju will. And even though I said it's not really a huge game changer for teams, that still doesn't mean it cannot thrive in team activities. As in all of these Gambit matches, which are team-based activities, my team definitely benefited from me having supers constantly, whether it's us just clearing out ants or whether it's us doing damage to bosses. It's extremely nice constantly pooping orbs out. But again, like I said, for my solo players that just want to be that one-man army, Bad Juju allows that. And again, when we start combining it with other exotics, other subclasses, you really start to see that synergy there thrive. And we'll, of course, dive into that this week. Well, fellas, that is Bad Juju, as well as its catalyst. If you're new to my channel, we do day one reviews like this for every weapon that comes out. So if you like these kind of reviews, guys, feel free to subscribe. Well, fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching. And as always,
slap that like button like your mama told you right.